Hi, it's Ginny Lindsay from 2 to 3 Relationship Counselling in Crow's Nest on this beautiful autumn day. Um, I wanted today to talk about conflict because conflict is something that I think most people think of as being negative, but actually it's really necessary in relationships to create intimacy, depth, closeness. So when I have couples that actually come in and they say, "Oh, we never fight," then that's a bit of a red flag actually for me, because what we actually want is healthy conflict. What is healthy conflict and what is the difference? So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. Um, so, firstly, let's just say that who you are is from the family that you came from. So, in your family, if you were from a family where you weren't able to have an opinion or answer back, and your opinion wasn't heard, so therefore you kept it to yourself, then you would have to just learn how to cope with that and find a coping mechanism. And other families, they have it out. So when you come into a relationship then with as a couple, what tends to happen is you've got couple one who's learned how to do conflict in theirs. Is it safe or not safe to do conflict? And in couple two, the second person, what's it like for them to be able to do conflict? So then in the middle, between the two of them, you have the relationship. So my job is to nurture the relationship in the middle by us actually understanding what actually happens for when the two couples come together. So what I've tended to see happen in relationships is that if you are an avoidant, which means if something comes up and you never really want to look at the conflict, you're actually robbing yourself of closeness. You're robbing yourself of really depth of love, intimacy, and really understanding your partner at a deeper level. And most people don't look at it that way. They see conflict as scary. And maybe that's because of the family that they've actually come from. That conflict wasn't really pleasant. It was actually scary. There was a lot of yelling, screaming, and unsafe. And that's not nice for a young child to actually experience at all. But if we actually look at what healthy conflict looks like, it would actually be getting close to your partner, taking a position of understanding and curiosity about where they're actually coming from. Because when we brush the problem under the carpet, then often what happens is there's no repair. And so when there's no repair, that means then if something similar then comes up, reactivity is usually greater. And when reactivity is greater, then usually resentment is greater. And then what happens with the relationship in the middle, instead of being close, it starts to separate out, and we get distance between the two people, which isn't great at all. So conflict is actually the bridge to intimacy. So what we want is we want to learn the tools. We want to learn the tools on how to communicate really effectively and constructively is the word with each other. So we have respect, we have kindness, we have honesty, and honesty is the other word. But how do we do that in the right way and the right timing for when you are both able to hear it? So the other thing also is conflict. People need to be able to, when they come back to have a repair, is they need to be able to have time to breathe. They need to be able to have time to regulate, and that's what I mean by the time to breathe. Because to be able to regulate, you need to do breath work, and that is calming our sympathetic nervous system down to the parasympathetic nervous system. And we need to be able to do that so we can actually start to think straight. So here is our feelings and our reactivity. When it's up, our ability to think straight is right down here. I think that line's okay. So we can't think straight when our reactivity is up here. So we need to actually bring our reactivity down by slowing our breath down, particularly our exhale. And then we can actually think, wow, what got touched for me? What happened for me there? What did I feel? What did I think? What did it mean? What does it remind me of potentially from my past? And what do I need? And when we're calm enough, now that can take half an hour, half a day, full day, asleep. It can take, we have to both be regulated to be able then to come back together again. So the length and intensity depends on whether it's a bump in a conflict or whether it's a much bigger thing. But we can't come back and actually have that constructive conversation until we're both calm. So communication then is the key. And these are all skills. And this is what I help my clients with all the time, every day, is how to have really effective communication skills to actually work through conflict. So sometimes they won't be perfect, but at least you've got them to be able to know, okay, this is when I'm calm, what we need to do. And that's what I work with my clients with all the time, is communication skills, and when to be able to then come back together again, take accountability and a responsibility for your part, and to be able to hear the other person's view. Both your views are valid. I think that's what happens, is a lot of people get into what we call gridlock because they're trying to push their own barrow. But if we actually open our hands and go, I want to understand you. What happened for you? What were your dreams, your hopes, your expectations, your beliefs, your values? And for the other person, because that's where the depth comes. That's where the intimacy comes. That's where we get to know our partner much more than going into right and wrong, black and white. So once you've had a repair, this is where the depth comes in the relationship. This is where you start to really know each other at a much deeper level. And your intimacy, your sex life, everything improves greatly through healthy conflict. So this is what I work every day with my clients. I highly encourage you, if you are having any issues with communication in your relationship, or you're looking at your intimacy, or you're thinking, wow, we don't actually fight a lot, but what do I do with my emotions? Do I bury them? What do I actually do? And do I really get my needs met? Because I tend not to want to speak up, but how do you grow then your relationship into a really rich, meaningful place from that position, which may feel very comfortable, but sometimes where we want to be together a really long time and have a really, really fulfilling relationship, that's where we need healthy conflict. So come and see me if you have any issues at all. I'm in Crow's Nest from 2 to 3, relationship counselling, and have a wonderful day. Take care.